Hey everybody, welcome on back. It's the Rubbin is Racing podcast. It's me, Large, Spider in Chicago, sitting next to Sean Quigley. They call him Quigs. And on the ones and twos here is a filthy Greek guy named Manoli Stavrakis. Rubbin is Racing is presented by Cabo Wabo Tequila. For people who are watching this on Rumble or any other platform, you can see right in front of me this golden god, Cabo Wabo Tequila. It's unquestionably Mexican tequila with an undeniably American attitude. And it isn't just tequila. It's damn good, thick-cut, 100% Blue Weber agave tequila. It's the official tequila partner of Nascar, and you can add a bold splash to race day watching with Cabo Wabo tequila. If you're heading to Food City 500 in Bristol this Sunday, celebrate race day with Cabo Wabo, but Cabo wants to remind you to leave the driving to the professionals this weekend. Please enjoy the thick-cut, bold-tasted Cabo Wabo tequila, but enjoy it responsibly. Spider and I have been with Cabo Wabo now. This is our second season. Every time we get together with the Cabo Wabo crew, we always have a great time, but we have a great time responsibly. So grab your buds and a bottle of Cabo Wabo tequila for the boldest race day experience. Just remember, you got to be 21 years or older. And again, please handle responsibly. Thank you so much, Cabo Wabo, for being on board with us. We'll be on board with you this weekend when we're watching a race. Boys, how's everything going? Welcome back. How are we feeling out there in Chicago in the Windy City?
It's a beautiful day in Chicago, Large. Beautiful day. Can't complain at all.
Did they dye the river green yet?
Not
yet, I don't think.
I haven't seen the
probably
river.
Wednesday, Thursday?
This weekend.
Right.
It'll be green. Happy St. Patty's Day to everyone. We hope everyone's having a great weekend.
Yeah. Happy Irish Christmas. So we're taping on Tuesday. Just to give you guys some sort of perspective in case something happens between when we tape and when we go live. I'll start off with some headlines. I always like to we have a lot of conjecture on where NASCAR is going to race next. And Steve Phelps almost accidentally told NBC Sports on this past Saturday that he's looking at Dodger Stadium as a possible race site for 2025. I've never been to Dodger Stadium. I'm assuming they're going to go around this. I don't even know how the semantics of that will work.
It might be like a short track Pocono almost.
I saw a mock-up of it on Twitter, and someone made it of like the outfield and inside, like yeah, exactly, like kind of a mini Pocono.
I guess I got diamonds mixed up with triangles, but
no, but still, like a tricky triangle or tricky diamond, or I mean, we see so much of this, like tri-ovals and all that kind of stuff. How do you guys feel about it?
I think I hate it.
Okay.
I don't know. I think we learned with the Clash that trying to force these cars into a track that's too small for what they're doing is not the best idea. Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's unique. I'd have to see the full layout, I guess, but I don't know. When there's not enough space, it just doesn't make for a good race.
Spider?
Yeah, I kind of agree. To me, this kind of feels too similar to the Clash. From how I understand it, at least based on what I saw on Twitter, it would be inside. So if that's the case, it's basically just the Clash at a different venue, which if we're going to do that, I would say, like, let's move it. I said this in the past on the show. Like, move it to the Northeast. I know that if we're truly trying to gain new audience,
do it at Fenway.
Yeah, place it somewhere where the audience pretty much is kind of tuned out, and give them something to that would be a good on-ramp, I think. But so, yeah, and I know that I've also heard in the past that they've toyed with doing this around like the greater New York City area, whether it be MetLife or something like that outside in that giant parking lot that is New Jersey there. So part of me wants that more than Dodger Stadium. But
Fenway would be awesome.
Fenway would be, imagine sitting on top of the Green Monster.
Even if the race sucks, because they do the manual scoreboard there. Mm-hmm. If they have a guy back there just running around putting the drivers up in their positions,
that would be nuts.
As it's live, you could just watch that.
That's a great idea.
I'm sort of soured on LA. Like, I think if they're going to switch it up, get out of LA.
Yeah, I don't know what their goal is there.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's no different than like Phoenix or Miami hosting the season finale. It's like they need fair weather city at that point in the season if they're going to do it when they do it.
Yeah, but I don't know if they do. Like, there's races they have in Miami where it's like it rains every day in Florida. Like, I don't know. I don't know if the weather is like the reasoning behind it, really.
I don't know the reasoning, but I do think they should pivot more Go anywhere other than LA. I'm with you, Large.
Yeah.
I'm still pro Mexico, and I said again, go through like Sicario, just 38 cars right through into Estadio Olimpico, which I don't even know. That's from Something About Mary. I don't want it here only because of the traffic. Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn has got this big wide open space. You'd have to bring in grandstands and whatnot. But I also think if you wanted to give some shine and maybe go a little bit south, or just to mix it up, maybe do it on an Army base or an Air Force base where they're actually on like runways and shit like that. And
that should be they do a great job with the Coke 600 for veteran appreciation, but a race like that on a fucking Army base, that's a great idea, Large.
Yeah. I think so. I'm assuming Air Force bases have a lot of runways, right? I don't want to be an asshole about it. So, you could sort of run something again, like the infrastructure about putting up grandstands and all that might be a little bit of a challenge, but man, that'd be awesome.
Hear me out on this one.
Go.
An aircraft carrier race.
And we're willing to cut the field down.
Yeah.
Like we cut the field this year at the Clash, so a lot of people went out there, didn't qualify, and all of a sudden they had to get back from LA for Daytona. It was like a huge waste of time for a couple of these teams. So if they're not shy about that, we trim it down. And
Championship 4, just those 4 cars, one race, aircraft carrier. If you go off, you're out.
Yeah, and believe me, the Dodger Stadium will probably be cool. The Doyer Dogs, and they already have the infrastructure to hold that many people and whatnot. But yeah, I think we need to get out of LA. I think we need to escape from LA. No big deal, but that's what I want. A couple of in-house announcements. So we do go to the 600 on Memorial Day, which we're going to be doing again, and it looks like we'll be going with the ZBT crowd. The Zero Blog 30 is probably the most noble thing that Barstool does as far as helping out veterans and whatnot. So the 3 people who host that, Kate, Chaps, and Cons, I believe the 3 of those are coming down to Memorial Day weekend with us. So I'm excited about that. It sort of makes sense. I'll talk more about it as we get closer, but they put like the name of a fallen soldier on the car where you would normally see the driver's car, and then sometimes the family of that fallen soldier who wins comes down to winner's lane, or like they come out and they celebrate with the winner of the race. So it's just the flyover is especially heartwarming, because you have all this veteran stuff around for Memorial Day. So something to keep an eye on. And confirming, we're in Martinsville with Frank the Tank. So I don't know if it's going to be open to the public, but Frank and Spider and I are going to do a Frank Walks. Frank walks 10,000 steps a day. He's down about 100 pounds or some bullshit. I don't know. We have at least one major driver who, I don't know if I'm not allowed to announce who he is, but one major driver who's going to be doing the walk with us. So that'll be cool. We're going to walk the track at Martinsville. We'll be there for the Xfinity race, which I believe is sponsored by Dude Wipes, and then we're going to do the Cup Series race on Sunday. So I'm excited about that. Last thing I'm going to mention as far as headlines is I just came out this morning. Again, this is Tuesday. Viewership was up again last week. Big number. They put up a big number in Phoenix. They had 4 million viewers. Wow. So as far as sporting events, it was the most watched sporting event. I know it's kind of feast or famine. Maybe people are watching, college basketball and whatnot. I don't know if they include pay-per-view stuff. I don't know how many eyes were on Anthony Joshua absolutely wiping out Francis Ngannou, bringing everybody back to earth as far as boxing goes. But NASCAR did very well. Those 4 million plus viewers is up 19% from the Phoenix spring race last year. And that's big. In TV terms, that's big. So we've seen big jumps, especially after Atlanta. We saw a big jump into Las Vegas. We saw a big jump into Phoenix. We're going to talk about Phoenix. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to talk about it in a little while because a lot of people are shitting on it. But just know, however you feel about it, it seems like the race, from NASCAR's perspective, was at least a success. And it looks like with this growth in viewership this year in the 2024 season, NASCAR is attributing that to the Netflix special and to us, Rubbin is Racing. Those are the 2 things that have really been driving viewership. So I'd like to take this opportunity to say you're welcome, NASCAR, for all our fucking hard work. That's it for any kind of headlines. Let's get right to the race. Coming into Phoenix, Toyota didn't have a stage win or a race win. For the previous three things, Toyotas have kind of blown this year. Chevy has been ruler supreme, and that all changed when Denny and Ty Gibbs qualified P1 and P2, so they were the front row. It was a front row for Toyota, and now Denny Hamlin has more poles than any other active driver, which is important in Phoenix more so than any other track. I put up a graphic that I basically, captured on my phone during the race, that the pit box, that first position, the pit boxes in Phoenix are fucking crazy.
It's what the kids would call OP. They need to nerf it.
It's overpowered, Large. That's what you mean.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah. No, I heard it at my last DJ gig. They said I was OPing. But so the pit box, the first pit box spot, which Denny obviously had taken, won 3 of the last 7 races. It's finished top 7 in the last 17 races, and the average finish is 6th, which is the best of all boxes in any race in the Cup Series. So if you get that prime time spot, it bodes very well. It didn't bode that well for a Denny. The number 11 finished P11, but still, it's sweet like deer meat to be able to get in there. Just a small recap of the race. Tyler Reddick wins his first stage. I was surprised to see that was his first stage points of the season. And it was the first time he won a stage at Phoenix in his career. So congratulations to him. And then Chris Bell wins stage 2. That was his first stage win of the season. And then Chris Bell takes it all. It's a 7th career win for Chris Bell. And all 7 of his wins have been on different tracks, which I believe is pretty impressive. I'm asking you guys because we have a little bit of empirical evidence. Did the fastest car win this week? Or did the fastest car make a mistake? I mean, I asked that kind of last week also with the Vegas results. Do you guys feel like the fastest car had won? Was Chris Bell the guy this week?
Yeah. I think, it was between him and Denny. After I was heavy on Chevy, and then after qualifying in practice, the Toyotas looked great. They delivered. I think Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin had pretty similar equipment, if not equal. And I think, Denny spun himself. Christopher just did what he had to do. So I think he was the car to beat.
I think Reddick might have had the fastest car out there. Denny, so I bet on Denny. And I just didn't feel like his car was that fast. They kept talking about his car was like set up for the long run, but then it wasn't even that great on long runs. It's just all he had to do was stay in the top 5, and then anytime he went to the pits, he could just get the lead back. But Reddick looked really tough to beat, but like Christopher Bell's fast, yeah.
No, and I think if you look at how many people he jumped, right? You can't pass on short tracks. That's what everyone says. But Christopher Bell had passed a lot of people on short tracks, and obviously a lot of lap traffic and whatever. There was some pit issues and whatnot. But yeah, I thought that Denny and Reddick were the 2 people that stood out as possibly being able to make a run against them. But yeah, Denny inexplicably just kind of spun out. He got into Tyler. I saw the replay. He got into Tyler a little bit before he had spun out. But so congratulations, Christopher Bell. We have been less than positive on Chris Bell this season, particularly quicks. Ever since he, I think he blew a brake rotor in the championship race in Phoenix last season, right? Like he was first of the 4 out during the championship race. Things haven't been going his way. I think he was actually one of those guys that was sent packing early in LA. I don't think he ran in the Clash, to be honest. Yeah, I'll have to check that. But so how do we feel now? Like, does this reset the decks for Christopher Bell, legitimizes him? He's a playoff driver now if everything goes his way. How do you feel about him now?
It's weird. I don't know. I'm not like a Christopher Bell hater, but I'm like I think he's so vanilla, and he's just I don't know. It's very tough to explain. It's like he may not win another race this season and somehow make his way into the championship 4. Like that's the kind of driver he is.
He's
a little bit
quiet contender.
Like I don't think of him as like a guy with like a killer instinct, but he could just kind of pick up a race in Phoenix. That's kind of after a couple big races. I don't know. I think I'm just a hater on him. Like I think I should give him more credit than I do. But I don't know. I can't get my brain to think of him as like one of the top drivers.
I mean, I think he is one of the top drivers, and I think he's like a quiet contender. Like Quigg said, it's not a guy that jumps out at you every week and like someone that you like. At least I speak for myself when I say this. Like, I'd much rather put money on guys that I actually truly like rooting for, like Denny Hamlin or Chase Elliott or some. Well, Chase Elliott's banned right now, but like Christopher Bell, that flame is not there with him. So I have to feel overwhelming about his ability to win for me to place a bet on him. Whereas that's not the case with other drivers. This week, he kind of reminded us that he's a factor to win at any given track. And I think the fact that last season, first one out of the championship 4, we saw what happened in Phoenix. For him to come back here and win the race is pretty encouraging, I think. So, yeah, I mean, as much as vanilla and quiet and humble as he may be, I think he's going to be a factor in the future, for the foreseeable future.
And he got knocked out for a mechanical issue, right?
Yes.
Brake rotor. So it wasn't, it wasn't his fault necessarily.
Right.
So we've had Chris on the show a couple of times. Packed schedule for him this week. We actually requested 2 people this week. One of them was Chris, and the other was Kevin Harvick. That's what I'd thrown in when I'd seen that Bell wasn't doing too many outside interviews. And so Kevin Harvick, as people had actually said that he's going to do the show, would just do it a little bit later in the season. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if you consider bucket list type stuff, but I think it would have been kind of cool to talk to Kevin this week, particularly because how did he feel watching somebody else dominate? When Christopher Bell won by 5.5 seconds, how do you feel watching somebody else dominate on a track that he's won 9 times at? It's sort of that track's kind of synonymous with Kevin Harvick. But yeah, so that's coming up somewhere down the road, and I can't wait to talk to Happy. He's also promoting the podcast Happy Hour, which our friend Mamba hosts with him. So that's a weekly show called Happy Hour. Kevin Harvick, Mama Smith, and I don't know who the young lady is who sits in the middle of them. I'm remiss with that, but is what it is. Oh, no free ads. Fuck Kevin Harvick. Chris Buescher was P2, and afterwards, one of the reporters had said, "What could you have done differently to have overtaken Chris Bell and gotten the W?" And Chris Buescher was just brutally honest and said, "Overtake him. I couldn't see him. I came in P2. He's 5.5 seconds ahead of me. I couldn't see him. There was no way I was catching up to him. So he was in a rocket ship." So I think that, and I never saw this before, but I wanted to mention this to you guys. So Bell had a hiccup in the pits where I think they had to they spent way too much time on one of his tires, and it held him up. So he had a very long pit stop. And afterwards, this broadcast more so than other ones, they had some sizzle reel about pit crew guys where they went to school. Like, I was a running back in North Carolina, and now I'm, a jackman for this. Like, they had done something. I thought it was very cool. I was like, oh, that's cool that they're giving these guys a shine, because all the pit guys that we're familiar with or friendly with, they all have a ton of personality. A ton. Probably more so than most of the drivers, or at least in certain circumstances. But when Bell had a unsuccessful pit stop, they actually had the guy who was changing his tire come on, and did you guys happen to see that? The guy
were they interviewed him?
Yeah, they interviewed this guy, this tire changer on the 20 team, and he got on there and he just explained this. We weren't comfortable with it, and so instead of having a Chris Buescher situation where the tire pops off and then we get this, we decided to just be a little bit more safe than sorry, so we had to retighten, and that's what gave an extra 2 seconds, and obviously that lost a bunch of positions for Bell, who was able to make it up through traffic, which was no harm, no foul. But it was the first time they did that. People had mixed reviews on it, saying, hey, how could you go to an athlete after they fucked up? No one really puts a mic in a quarterback's face and be like, why'd you throw that pick six right away? And it seems like that's what they did with them. I found it to be refreshing. And I
liked it.
I think it's a very cool thing to do.
Go ahead. Yeah. So you think that that's something that they should do more often? I'm under that impression.
I will never knock the broadcast for showing more interviews or that's the one thing. I feel like oftentimes we see an unreal race, we come on the show and we talk about how great it was, but then we go and talk about how we saw on Twitter after the broadcast ended that this person said this or this person shit talked that person. Right. Those are more things that I would love to see in real time on the broadcast. So I have to give them credit here. I saw it in real time and was like, I love that. and it's just telling the story more intriguing to the broadcast. I thought the truck race broadcast was abysmal. They signed off by congratulating the wrong winner. That being said, I do like the Cup race's new initiatives, whether it be this or whether it be Clint's tailgating, trying to find the rowdiest party. Like they've done a lot of stuff, and I have to give them credit. But I'm also going to be critical when I think they fuck up. So
yeah, I like that. I also think the pit driver introduction thing, I think they stole that off Twitter. I remember a guy at the beginning of the season had a post that was, I think, like the video the NFL guys do in their whatever school they're from.
Fuck
and they were
it,
like,
keep stealing from Twitter. They got some good ideas on there.
Yeah, I wish I knew who it was to credit them, but I do think they took it from there.
Yeah, I thought it was a great addition to the broadcast. So the pit guys are way more fun than half the drivers a lot of times.
That
so
is true.
It's cool getting to know them.
And it gives you more people to root for. Like we say, there's a finite amount of drivers, and as much as we love Austin Dillon, I like Austin Dillon. I love Swan. Like I only wish good things for the 3 team, and not exclusively again because I like AD, but because of Swanee. So I think if you give people more, particularly in this sport where they don't have so many people to root for because there's a finite amount of drivers every week on the actual track, I think that it's going to be positive. And if we do have all these new eyes on us, from Netflix and from Rubbin is Racing, I think it's good that we give them some other characters. Maybe tell them, hey, by the way, Chase Elliott's guy used to be a bounty hunter. I love the backstory stuff that these guys do. So kudos to Fox, who didn't get it really right throughout the broadcast. I'm going to talk about Phoenix in a little bit, but I thought there were some things that they could have done a little bit better. Before I get to that, I love smoke. When there's smoke between drivers, looks like Blaney and Chastain are still going to be doing a little bit of jawing. Blaney had overtaken Chastain at the end to finish, I think, P5. Chastain might have been P6. So there was still a little bit of jawing, at least on Chastain's part at the end, but nothing too big. There was no, shadiness or anything involved. But there were 4 other drivers, 2 and 2, that seemed to have some smoke this week, and I'm here for it. On lap 206, John Hunter Nemechek made contact with Joey Logano. And the 22 spun and collected Josh Berry, Corey LaJoie, Derek Kraus, and Zane Smith in the process. Nemechek said on his radio with his team that he felt Logano had slowed down. He didn't mean to hit him. And then in response, Joey said he drove straight in the back of me. He has to be man enough to own up to that. Those are fighting words to me. Like, you got to be man to do that. And to which, like, Nemechek did. He decided to be man enough to head up to it. And he said this, I quote, "I want to apologize to Joey. I'm going to reach out to Joey. I'll probably reach out to Paul Wolf and Roger Penske. I guess I just misjudged it. I hit the brake pedal pretty hard, and it didn't really slow down. I got in the back from it. It's my fault. I made a mistake. I've got to learn from it, and I own it." That's John Hunter. I think that's avoiding smoke. I almost don't like it. I wish John Hunter would have been like, "Fuck you, old man. It's my time." And Joey is frustrated. Joey's, if he was playing poker, he's on tilt right now, right? So because he has such a disappointing season, that 34th place finish, because he could no longer continue once he hit the wall, was the 3rd time this year he finished outside of the top 25. This is the 2022 champion. He was 32nd at Daytona, 28th in Atlanta. He was trying to build some momentum off a 9th place finish in Vegas, but he couldn't avoid the wreck. So we keep talking about panic buttons, and I still think it's too early. But this right now, through 4 races, is the worst start of a season for Joey Logano since his rookie season in 2009. So we'll do over-unders and stuff like that. But for right now, Joey Logano, don't jump into the lifeboats yet, but it just hasn't gotten – this all changes when he wins a race. All changes when he wins a race. But for now, things haven't been going right for poor Joey Logano. And the only other 2 that seemed to have a little bit of smoke was my guy, Eric Jones, who Quiggs also hates. He qualified in the top 5. He ran near the front of the field for the majority of Sunday's race. I had him on my card, so I was very, very happy about it. And then after that final restart, after Denny spun with 92 laps to go, one of our other guys, Chase Briscoe, was racing with Jones in the middle of the field when things got tight, and then Jones slapped the outside wall, damaging his car and knocking him off pace basically for the rest of the day. He finished 31st, and he wasn't happy with Briscoe after the race. Here's the quote. This is what he told Front Stretch, just to give them a shout out. The 14 is dragging us down over and over, restart after restart. He put us 4 wide because he's slowing us down so much, and I got wrecked. So that sucks, but he seems to have an issue with me every week. I'll call him this week. He probably won't call me back, but I'd love to talk to him. That's smoky. That's a little bit more smoky, and I'm here for it. I'm here for Eric Jones versus Chase Briscoe. I don't know who I'm rooting for. I'll probably lean
I don't
Briscoe.
think I'm here for this one, Large. This is
No?
These are 2 guys that I like a lot, and I feel like if you just like locked me and them in a room, we can broker peace together. I can get these guys on the same team. I know they're not on the same team. One drives Toyotas, the other's in the Ford for the time being, but I think I would have them. I mean, they're 2 likable, like, underdog, middle of the field guys that you want to see break through and win. For them to have beef, this is the one instance of me not liking the beef. I'm usually pro beef. In this case, I'm a vegetarian. Squash it, boys. I like both of you. Team up and build something great.
I hear you. It's a good time to take a break because there is some animosity in the air in NASCAR. We want to tell you right now, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. A lot of us spend our lives wishing we had more time. The question is, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so you can do more of it. I've benefited from therapy in the past. Annie and I used to go to it after all the stuff that went down in 9/11, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. And even if you've never done it, I think it's something that you should give a try, right? It was beneficial. And I wasn't a believer until we went in and just sat down and talked to somebody. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist, which I think is important. You can switch therapists at any time. If you don't gel with somebody, just get them the hell out of there and bring in somebody new that you do gel with. So learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/racing today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/racing. Go visit them today, and I think that it can help you out. So with that, those are and I don't know if anything comes to that. I don't know if all of a sudden Briscoe is going to come back and be like, fuck you, because they're so mild-mannered guys. I guess I'm just here for any smoke.
Large. Someone posted this after all the beef went down, and Eric Jones was kind of voiced his displeasure. It was an interview that I believe Jeff Gluck did with Eric Jones, and one of the questions which he asked him was, which driver would you least like to be stuck on an elevator with? And Eric Jones answered Chase Briscoe. So it seems like the beef is very much like kind of the flame has been burning for a while, and maybe the pot is about to boil over. We don't know, but like I said, I need to broker peace between these guys and work it out so they can both run together to some decent finishes.
I would love to see you get the opportunity to be the guy with the peace pipe, to all of a sudden be the dude who just comes in, like at Rough and Rowdy weigh-ins, like sort of get in between the thing, be like, save it for the ring, guys, save it for the, racetrack instead. So I think that's something that NASCAR could use, and I think you're the guy to do it. Since you're such an integral part of the fabric already.
I'm happy to do it.
Why the hell not? Yeah.
Yeah, we should start a new series sponsored by BetterHelp, where Spider sits down the drivers with beef and make them work it out.
Get another chair in here. We'll put them. I'll sit between them.
Jesus Christ, what a good! I should have used that as the segue. Fuck.
Yeah,
I missed that one, Quiggs.
You want me to take the lead on this?
Quiggs is going for P1.
Please do, Quiggs.
No, I appreciate all the work you do.
Thanks, my brother. By the way, so we put out our bets every week. We didn't sniff anything. I mean, I think I had Chastain top 5. He came in 6th. Were you close? I mean, once the field flipped,
I had
with
Denny,
90 left,
that never towards the end of the race did I feel.
I was exclusively on Chevy. We know how that worked out. I felt good about it going into the race, and then kind of after we recorded and they started doing practice and qualifying, I realized probably the reality of what was about to ensue, and that's what happened. So hopefully this week we can find a little bit better luck.
I think I'm going to save at least one pick every week until closer to it. I know we can't probably wait until qualifying because you got to get the graphic out. By the way, the thumbnail of me in the graphic, I just look Wonderful. I just look elated. It must have been after that race where I called the 500 where I had the script because I've never seen me so happy. But maybe like save it a little closer because on Tuesdays, like these lines just came out.
Yeah.
The stuff that we're going to be looking at. Shout out DraftKings. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But it's not that easy.
Also, on that, actually, I don't know that I should say this. We might need to edit this out. I was going to say shout out DraftKings North Carolina customers. If you're listening from the great state of North Carolina, now live, there's some great promos going on this week. If you're in North Carolina listening, get on DK right now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app on your phone. Get involved. Don't miss out on these new customer acquisitions.
And I would tell you what, we're going to do the over-under. Just casually talk about what we had seen this week as far as from an over-under standpoint. I have to give a huge under to so DraftKings when they did open up. Who's the guy? The Carolina Panther? The dude,
Greg Olson.
Greg Olson. He had the first legal bet placed online in the state of North Carolina through DraftKings. You know who he took?
No, please tell me.
Was it a driver?
He took one driver to win the NASCAR Cup Series. That's what he did. He took a future. So he had one driver.
That play, Greg. For now, I can't. Yeah. I don't know who the driver is.
Let me think who it could
I think I think I have a outside guess.
We were invited down. Joe Solosky, the guys, Joe and Ray Cook, who were instrumental in getting this done with Barstool, and I mean Rubbin is Racing. They do on the gambling end of NASCAR, great guys. So they invited us down. We weren't able to make it down, but the whole idea behind it was you were going to be down in Charlotte, and the ceremonial first pick, Greg Olson comes out, handsome as all get out, sits down, he placed the first bet, he shows it to everybody. NASCAR Cup Series Championship driver. This is who I bet on.
Can I
who
give
is
my
it?
guess?
Please, Quiggs, who is it?
Kyle Busch.
No.
My guess is his teammate Austin Dillon.
Absolutely not. You each get one more guess, and then I'm moving on.
I should probably provide context for that guess. When we were at the Dozen Trivia at Super Bowl, I was there. I invited Paul Swan into the suite. Greg Olson was a celebrity guest. They were boys, so I assume that Austin and Paul were boys with Greg Olson. He might have taken an outside shot on Austin Dillon in that 3-car to win it. For my second guess, fuck, Quiggs, you go next. I'm not sure.
I will tell you right now, Spider, before you go on, I thought that you said when he's partners with Austin Dillon that he might have owned a piece of the bull riding team. Ooh. That's what I took that to mean, which he doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't. But that's automatically where my mind went for some reason because I'm old and stupid. Quiggs, you have one more guess.
The way you're wording it, it sounds like somebody that you think has no chance.
That's the vibe
I
I'm
would
getting.
think it'd be one of Greg Olson's friends. I will go with Michael McDowell.
Michael McDowell is incorrect. Spider, your final guess.
Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin is another good guess, but a horrible one. This isn't a person that I'm sure isn't going to win a championship, but I think that if I let you guys have 2 or 3 more guesses, it would take that until you got to Bubba Wallace. And that's who we put the thing on. I thought that was kind of,
That checks out. That checks out.
Yeah.
We're just putting it together in our heads now.
Scripted.
Bubba is a DraftKings athlete as far as I'm concerned. So
yes,
if
100%.
Greg was there on behalf of DraftKings, he was probably going to ride with his guy, Bubba Wallace, as I do often with our guys, whether it be me betting on Blaney because he's in the body armor car or Chase in the Hooters car. You have to play with... I appreciate Greg for being a company man. I should have seen that coming.
Yeah. Outside of the event, there was a 23 car with a DraftKings paint scheme.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah. So that may have been a little bit of a scripted pick.
Yeah. So I'm not shitting on Bubba. We had him on a couple weeks ago, and I would love to have him on again. I thought it was a great interview, and I think the way that this guy's trajectory has gone has been impressive for everybody, and he got a nice little bit of shine on the Netflix special and whatnot. But I thought that it was out of character, just in a bubble, in a vacuum, where you don't keep in mind that the 23 car was outside, or that there's the DraftKings type deal. But so Bubba Wallace, so congratulations. I hope he hits on it. All right, so what did you see this week? What did you see this week, Spider, from your perspective? Who are the outperformers? So we already talked about Bell. Bell's the guy. Yep. So he's back. He's back on everyone's radar. Congratulations to the 20 team. But who did you see that might have been over or under?
I mean, it's the Toyotas that performed well. Yeah. To me, the two that surprised me the most were Tyler Reddick and Ty Gibbs. Both showed up and performed really well. And on the flip side of that, I would say the only under, based on what I was expecting, again, after practice and qualifying, was domination from Denny Hamlin, or at least him to be... I mean, he did. I should say, after he spun himself, he did recover fairly well. He charged up back through the field, but I think overall, underwhelming from Denny, a guy that was pretty short odds to potentially win this race. So that's pretty much what I saw. But yeah, I think I was completely wrong. I was under. I'll take the under on the Chevys as well. I thought they would maybe at least be able to compete, but it was really a Toyota parade. So. That's kind of where I'm at. Quiggs, what did you think?
Give me an over, Quiggs. Let's do an over here.
Okay, I'll give you one. And wait, you want?
We'll come back to you, Red. I'll come back to you, Spider.
Yeah, please do.
I guess my over, like ignoring like Christopher Bell, he obviously won over. Even though he finished in 12th, I thought Gragson had a great race.
I agree.
Qualified really well, stayed up there the whole time. Great looking car. I thought he was an over. Similar to Spider, I'd say Denny's an under. That pit box, you have to take advantage of that, and you should win that race if you're on that pit box.
What did the graphics say? 6 of the last 7 have won?
No, I think 3.
It was 3 of the last 7 races, which is a huge percentage for a single pit box.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's finished top 7 in the last 17 races at Phoenix. I mean, it's wild. So it's
for
the
Denny
best
to be the worst
finish.
Toyota, he has to be an under, especially to be a favorite like that.
I'll give Toyota as an over. Here's a stat I saw. It's from Trey Ryan 99 on Twitter. Toyota had 5 cars lead 50 or more laps at Phoenix. This was the first race in the history of NASCAR where a manufacturer had 5 cars lead 50 laps.
Yeah,
so,
they dominated. And by the way, give a shout out to Joe Gibbs Racing as an over too, because they swept, right?
Yeah.
They actually won the ARCA, and then Chandler Smith won the Xfinity race. You go in and you have Chris Bell walk away with one. So it's a sweep for them this weekend, but them. And then with your point with Noah Gragson, listen, Noah Gragson keeps showing up in the top 15. If he had those 35 points back for the roof rack debacle, he'd be 15th in point standings. Instead, he's 26th. But he's slowly, remember, before last week, because they had the 35 points taken away from him, I had more playoff points than Noah Gragson. And now he certainly has more than Joey Logano. He's slowly climbing up 26th. He would be 15th without that thing. If you don't mind, I'm going to add one more over, and that's RFK Racing, because they put 2 drivers in the top 5, right? You had Buescher P2, and Brad K finally shows up.
They did sneak their way up there at the end. That was great. At no point did I feel like they were, in contention for a win, but they did a great job with advancing track position and ultimately finishing strong.
Yeah. And like I said, I know Buescher said that I was a mile away from Bell, but, shout out to, so RFK, they got to be in the over. I will tell you right now, there are only 3 drivers. So here's a question I'm going to ask you guys.
Wait, before we leave over.
Yeah, I got one more.
I'm going to go to unders next. But before I go to unders, I wanted to just throw this random question at you guys to try and embarrass you. Okay? This season has been a little bit all over the board. No driver has finished in the top 10 for all 4 races after we just got through with Phoenix. No driver has finished in the top 10. Only 3 drivers have finished in the top 10 for 3 out of the 4 races. Only 3 drivers finished in the top 10 for 3 out of the 4 races. Who are those 3 drivers? Greg, give me one. Blaney's one. Spider, give me the other. Okay. Give me one of the other 2.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think Ross Chastain meets the criteria, and he's a guy that I just neglected to say in the over segment. The only Chevy in the top 10, finished 6th. I gave him out I said I like Chevy, but if I had to pick one, it would be Ross Chastain. In that regard, he did, and he overperformed. He gave me what I wanted, and a 6th place finish. And I'm pretty sure, Large, is that correct? He's been running really well the last
100%. You guys are both correct. Spider, I'm going to stay with you. Okay? So we have Blaney. We have Chastain. all the fucking pressure is on you to give me the third driver to finish in the top 10 in 3 of the first 4 races.
Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs is it? Yeah. Who I kind of want to get in here, but we're constantly saying we're not, because Ty, when we were hanging out with him down in Daytona, he's like, I'll come on whenever you guys want. And we're saving him for the win, right? Like I think we shouldn't save him for the win, because when this kid gets the win, I think he's going to be absolutely buried that week. So we might have Ty Gibbs on sooner rather than later. All right, so then unders. By the way, you guys knocked that out of the park. Unders. So we had mentioned Denny, right? Underperforming, particularly how Toyota had outperformed, and he did just spin out, and that turned the field. The field was so much more interesting before it flipped with 92 left to go. I mean, we all had a fucking piece of that, and so, I don't know, it kind of fucked with the experience a little bit for me. But who else? Who else do we have that didn't live up to the hype or was just an underperformer this week?
I got one more over that I forgot, and I want to give a quick shout out to Carson Hocevar. Finished 15th. Finished 15th, running strong. The only Chevys that finished ahead of him were Larson, Suarez, and Chastain. So to be the 4th best Chevy in your rookie year, I think he's run well so far. He's shown us a lot of promising things, so have to give him credit there.
And, you know, Chevy is an obvious under because they only had one car finish in the top 10, right? So as much as we're going to blow Toyota, we have to, you know, the guy who, the manufacturer who won the first 3 races of the season absolutely disappeared in the 4th. Anybody else? I know you said you had one on deck, Quiggs. You had an under on deck?
Yeah, just my weekly legacy. And this one's a little unfair, but
Eric did pretty well.
No, he did. He did that. But the guy who did well finished, 34th?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
And John Hunter's kind of getting a little reckless out there. It's like every week he's involved in something.
I got another under we got to talk about. I feel like it has been an abysmal start to the season. You mentioned Joey Logano. He's definitely in my unders. Not necessarily blaming him, but, I mean, he's got to figure out the season. He's been kind of slow start. The other one that I feel meets that criteria as well is Kyle Busch. Yeah. Kyle Busch, I feel like he had a hot start to the season last season and 2 great chances for him to win to start the season between Daytona and Atlanta, especially in the RCR equipment. I think those cars shine at those tracks. So I think both those guys kind of slow starters.
Yeah. So RCR I put on the under too, right? Poor Austin Dillon. He can't get anything going. Caught up in another wreck early and finished 32nd. You know, the only thing I will say that I loved was the clip of his pit crew banging on the hood with a goddamn sledgehammer. And the one guy, and we know all the people in his pit crew, the one guy had his hands like dangerously close.
That was nuts.
Pushing down the Morgan & Morgan hood, which I think Morgan & Morgan is a accident attorney, right? Like,
yeah.
No better ad for Morgan & Morgan. So, and the guy's just wailing away with a sledgehammer on the fucking hood. So, yeah, so the RCR guys, I think, kind of get grouped in. I think the Hendrick guys should be thrown in there too, because Hendrick, you know, we had all these, you know, lead changes, and, you know, Quiggs had that stat about all the different Toyota guys who led for 50 laps or more. Hendrick didn't lead a single lap, and they didn't put a driver in the top 10. So Larson 14th, Byron 18th, Chase P 19th, and Bowman 20th. So Hendrick, you know, as much as we've been giving them stars, we got to give them the sad face this week. I talk about Chase Elliott every week, and Chase had a pretty good beginning of the race, so we always have our eye on it. At this point, and I have a question for you guys. Yeah, I don't know why I have so many questions, but I'm going to give it to you right now. Is NASCAR better off? Is NASCAR better off that Chase Elliott is not that good for a finite amount of time? We're very much a Chase Elliott podcast. We want Chase to do very well. We want to have him on the show and all that kind of stuff. But now that he's had a certain hiccup in his career, right, because it's gone on for a certain amount of time since he's had his last win, is it better or worse for NASCAR? I know NASCAR would say it's worse. They want their golden boy to be winning and all that stuff. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's better or worse?
I personally think it's better for the fans. Obviously not Chase Elliott fans, but like the fans like us that are wanting to get an insight at more, or like, you know, the underdog drivers to get more attention, more shine. Daniel Suarez, for example, like coming in, I feel like that's been a great story. Guys like him coming in and winning. So yeah, I think it's good when the focus and the spotlight gets turned onto other people. Like it shouldn't just be Chase Elliott indefinitely forever. Despite how I personally feel about him and how I'll root for him. There's a lot more talent than just Chase Elliott in the NASCAR pool, and it's great to see some of these other guys get highlighted. And it sucks that Chase had to kind of, slump a little or have a regression for this to happen, but I do think there are benefits that outweigh just Chase running away with the most popular driver and the most, desired guy year after year.
You agree, Quiggs?
No.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, always the contrarian. But, no, I mean, it's also not like when Chase was good, he's winning 50% of the races. He's still getting maybe 4 a year or something like that. But that's kind of like being like, is golf better when Tiger Woods is bad? Like, it's not.
I don't know, dude.
I think it's exactly...
We're comparing Chase Elliott to Tiger Woods now?
But, well, I guess if you're going with the sport's most popular player.
Okay, in that regard, I was thinking you were going from, like, a talent.
No, but, yeah, like, I mean, I think it's just better when... I don't know. You want Chase Elliott to be competitive.
I should say...
He's not going to win every race even when he is.
I'm not sitting here praying on Chase Elliott's downfall like I wanted him to start slumping so these other guys could shine. I'm saying this is a great side effect or I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's good things that come out of it. But
I'm 100% with you, Spider. I think, first of all, I think the Tiger Woods thing is salient because of one thing.
What does that mean?
It makes sense.
Oh, okay.
I love that. I think it's one of those things where we don't want Chase to be going through this, and I'm sure it's not an easy time in the Chase household, right? But we went to that. What was the name of that bar on the beach in Daytona where NASCAR started? That we went to the rooftop party.
Fuck! Why can't I think of it?
Like the Beach Ender or something.
No,
like that?
no. Fuck.
So
it's on the tip of my tongue.
We went to this private party, and, Denny was there, and Denny had a small entourage around him, his boys, and who were friendly with it. I think it's great. Kurt Busch had a real entourage around him, like the Monster Girls and all that kind of stuff. It was awesome. Tyler Reddick was there with his family, like his wife and his Bo was there and the whole deal, so it was kind of nice. Ty Gibbs was there with a couple of people that he was with. I was going to the bar, and I bumped into somebody. I was like, oh, excuse me, Chase Elliott? Like, he's just kind of hanging out there, having whatever. Very, very nice to talk. There's nothing wrong with Chase, and I only want the best things. But this is happening. Like, he's in a slump. And I think, 2 years ago, Ryan Blaney had launched a social media campaign where he wanted to knock Chase Elliott off as the most popular driver, which I think he is like 6 or 7 seasons in a row. And Ryan Blaney has the opportunity to do that this year for the first time. And I think he's a good champion. I think he's a good face of, the franchise and whatnot. Plus, and this is like a Tiger Woods type thing coming back, when Chase does finally break through this and he rattles off maybe 2 wins in a row, or if he wins 3 of 7 races, that's going to be a triumphant return, and it'll bring these new people who just started watching last season or this season into the fold about what is so special about NASCAR's most popular driver. I think it's going to create a storyline that's going to ultimately be good, because I think the three of us can agree Chase Elliott's not done. Chase Elliott's not washed or anything like that. We don't know when he's going to have a win, but I think it's inevitable that he's going to pull himself up and, be as good or better than ever. So I think this little dip, and you never said anything to the contrary, Spider, like we're happy for the Chase, but this dip has existed. And I think ultimately it might be something that's beneficial for NASCAR. Is it, fair to say, I think, right?
I think that's crazy.
Maybe not NASCAR, but I think
I just don't see how a Christopher Bell win is better than a Chase Elliott win for NASCAR overall.
Christopher Bell is going to win that race anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you could swap, if Chase Elliott wins that race, I think that's better for NASCAR than Christopher Bell.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I just think I don't think this is like
There's no answer.
NASCAR's benefiting from Chase Elliott being bad.
Right.
I think the people that are benefiting are the deep consumers like that watch religiously, that want other people to shine, and then the drivers that are now getting the platform that was formerly given to Chase Elliott. Like,
yeah, but
I think like look at the Netflix doc. A lot of those guys shine. That I mean,
sort of, but it's I always go to just different sports analogies, but
Right.
this is like saying like the Lakers, it's good for the Lakers if LeBron gets hurt for the season because guys like Rui Hachimura get more shine.
Rui
I think
jersey
it's more
sales
like
go up, though.
I think it's more like if Hulk Hogan loses to the Iron Sheik and then wins the title back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is an inevitability that he comes back. And I know part of it was predicated on a injury. Let's ask somebody who's newer than both of us, to all three of us. So I'm going to go to our esteemed producer, Manoli, who I don't like on the mic. That's one thing. I don't like this kid at all, so I don't like giving him any kind of time. Manoli, tell me about Chase Elliott. What do you think?
He let the muzzle off for the first time so far. But as someone who is obviously incredibly new, I'm still learning the names of everybody.
Right.
I think the best thing, and to kind of go back to like the Tiger Woods analogy, when Tiger Woods won the Masters a few years back, I don't think golf has hit a peak like that in years before or years after. There is just something about the like.
It's a good point, Manoli.
Like
That
to
was
see Bubba
tough.
to Bubba.
All right, so
That's a split house right now.
So
So it's
s-
Quiggs
so
and
stick-
Manoli versus me and you, Spider. That's what
Well,
it sounds like to me.
sticking with the
I
Tiger
thought he
Woods.
was a little bit more on your side there.
Yeah, I think
Because I thought at first, I was like, oh, yeah, Manoli's on my side, but he kind of went with the
He's a little bit on the fence.
the comeback route is
Yeah.
the exciting part.
right.
which
The
is
comeback's
kinda
going
what
to be
you said.
glorious.
Yeah.
I will say that. The comeback's going to be glorious, and I hope it happens sooner rather than later. But right now, if you were brand new, and I said, Manoli, pick a driver. Like Jenks will be down with us in Martinsville. And I'm going to say, Jenks, you need to have a driver that you're rooting for. And I think the bandwagon pick right now for Jenks isn't Chase Elliott, right? Because there's other people who are, quote unquote, more popular than him. And I think that's cool for the other drivers. And I think it's cool for NASCAR to have people invested in more than just the 9 car.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. But so I don't know, but I could be wrong. Who the fuck knows? Let's talk about Phoenix. If you guys are cool with it, what did you think of the race? A lot of people are hating on this, just on social media and beyond. I'm sure message boards and stuff. Spider. A lot of people are hating on this. I didn't mind the race as much as a lot of people did. What do we think about Phoenix? What did you think about the actual race? And I have my problems, but go ahead.
I saw Josh Hamilton on Twitter at Josh A. Hamilton tweeted today's race had 2,813 green flag passes, the highest total of any next-gen race at Phoenix Raceway. I don't know. I thought that people were a little bit more overly critical of this race than I thought. I don't think it warranted all the criticism. If I had one complaint about it, it was that it was a little bit like the end. Bell just won too dominantly, and I don't know what is the reason for that, but the race kind of felt like an F1 race the last like 10 minutes or so, where Bell had a Verstappen like lead, like 8 seconds and growing over like the rest of the field. So it didn't really feel like, it felt like only a caution was going to take that away from him. Not to say that the like race was boring. I think it was a testament to the Toyotas finding something, the package, and then also Bell just working through the field and his actual skill set. So I can't knock Phoenix. I think it kind of always delivers. It's usually a relatively good race and consistent.
It came in with higher expectations because
It
it
did.
said it marked the debut of the new aerodynamics package. They were talking about those slakes underneath and the size of the spoiler and whatnot. And then Goodyear also produced tires with thicker treads designed to retain heat and increase lap time fall off. So there was a lot of improvements that were supposed to be shown. And there were some incremental improvements, nothing huge. But again, the grandstand was sold out. it was a beautiful day to go see a race.
Yeah.
And the viewership was there. So I think as far as NASCAR is concerned, it was a success, and I think they feel comfortable having it on the schedule twice a year. Some people are just mad that Phoenix has the championship race again. I think they want that to be passed around a little bit. So that's some of the animosity. But I mean, we saw some passing. It seems like it's been grouped in with Richmond and Texas as the racetracks that people find the most wrong with. Richmond and Texas being, let's call Richmond, Phoenix, and Texas might be people's top 3 worst tracks. I don't know if it deserves it. What do you think, Quiggs?
Yeah, I think it's getting more hate than it should. I feel like I've seen some good races at Phoenix. This one, I don't know if I'd put in that category, but yeah, it has its issues. And any track that has a guy that has 20 laps left and you're like, there's no chance he's ever getting caught, takes a little bit out of a race for sure. But yeah, I don't mind. I think it is getting way too much hate, but also I think they're better track. Like, I mean, it's very recency bias, but like, give us Atlanta for the
But you can't get Atlanta every week.
I know.
Like,
and that is the issue. Like,
that's the issue with why people were so critical of this race, is because we just watched 3 banger races, and like now people have an expectation for, exciting finishes every week after week, and it's just combine that with the drivers before the race, and all the reporters are asking them how they feel about the modifications made to everything, and they're just trashing it, saying it's worse, add more horsepower, this and that. Like, the verdict for the race was out before the race went green. I feel like people need to give this a chance. And then I thought it was a great race. And I also love Phoenix. It's just very unique. People cutting across the track, like 5 wide, 4 wide. Like, what are people bitching about? I don't think it was that bad.
I think people will appreciate the Atlanta endings. I think action's detrimental. Denny had said that. If you were to have 3 wide photo finishes every week, they'd lose their luster. You know, how many NFL, how many Major League Baseball games, how many soccer 0-0 ties do you watch where you're like, yeah, not a lot had happened in it. So you tend to have stuff that's less exciting than the others. But I don't think by any stretch of imagination it should be deemed one of the worst tracks on the schedule. No. Which I'd be glad to shit on a track if I want to. So with that, let's go into next week because we're heading to Bristol. But before that, NASCAR at COTA race weekend is the following weekend, March 22nd through the 24th, featuring the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix Cup Series race. I'm talking about COTA in a couple of weeks. It's the first road course race of the 2024 NASCAR season on Austin's 20-turn, 3.41-mile Circuit of the Americas track. The pre-race concert features a party on the front straight with Riley Green. Fans can purchase a track pass to be on the racing surface and right in front of the stage for the concert and driver intros. If you guys are doing what I say you should do and go see a race live, make sure you show up early for the Cup race. It's unbelievable how close you get to these drivers and to these bands and, basically just standing on the track. It blows my mind every fucking time. So get 2 tickets in turn 12 for only $99 in the Daniel Suarez section and receive a free 20-ounce Coca-Cola at the race, hanging out with the amigos down in COTA. College students, come party at NASCAR with a special ticket deal. Only $25 for college students, and parking is free. So you can see all the amazing ticket options at NASCAR@COTA.com. NASCAR@COTA.com. That's coming up in a couple of weeks again, March 22nd through the 24th. There's a bunch of different ticket packages still available. So if you're down anywhere near the Austin area, check it out. But that's not this week. This week we got the Food City 500. What the hell is Food City? Is that like a supermarket, I'm assuming?
I think so,
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it sounds
like
awful. If anyone's listening and they know and they could prove me wrong and it winds up it's a Stu Leonard's or a Wegmans type place, please let me know. Because right now Food City kind of has that Dollar General feel to it.
I
but,
think...
Go.
No, I'm just trying to think if it's what
Oh,
food...
hold on. Did I just get something from Moonhead? Food City is sick? Is that what you
Moonhead,
just said?
chime in, man. Put them on.
Yeah, we can't be hating on Food City. It's like it's an icon. It's a I wouldn't call it like a holy land, but it's like a glorified Food Lion.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Food Line, I'm not familiar with.
What areas is it in?
Tennessee and Georgia, a little bit of North Carolina, I think, Virginia.
So where do you rank it? So I know it's apples and oranges, but we're a big pro Buc-ee's podcast because it offers something that I've never seen in a gas station ever. Is Food City one of those things where, like the pub sub from Publix, everyone's got to go down and get a pub sub from Publix. There's all these places, Wawa, you got to get this, blah, 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 all that kind of shit. Is Food City one of those places where I pass by, I got to check it out?
I don't know. It's just a good vibe. Like everybody has nice aprons in there.
Put it
Higher
higher or lower than Harris Teeter?
I'd say about on par.
On par with that? Okay.
Yeah, I'd say about on par.
I take back everything negative I said about Food City 500 because I was operating from a position of ignorance. I'm now on board. I might get a fucking sweatshirt. So the Food City 500 on Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day at 3:30 Eastern Time, and it's going to take place at the Last Great Coliseum. That's at Bristol. The Bristol Spring Race is back on concrete after being on dirt for the past few seasons. It's 500 laps on a .533 mile oval, which means it's 266.5 miles. Christopher Bell, we know who he is the defending race winner on the dirt in 2023. Brad Keselowski is the defending winner on concrete from the spring race, winning it in 2020. Darrell Waltrip holds the record for most Bristol victories with 12 wins total, but for active drivers, Kyle Busch has 10 wins at Bristol, and 9 of those are on the concrete. The last thing I'm going to mention about Bristol is a place that sounds great to me. Swaggerty Farms was just named the official sausage provider of Bristol Motor Speedway. Never had Swaggerty Farms, but I would be waiting online for that. You know what? I'm going to go to a Food City, buy some Swaggerty Farms sausages, and if it's not everything that it's promised, then I'm going to punch Moonhead right in the fucking face. Alrighty? So where would we go to bet on these things? There's only one place where we're going to go bet, and that's DraftKings. And plus, on top of this, we're also getting to that time of year. The thrill and excitement of March Mania is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. That's right. To celebrate college basketball's most frenzied time of year, DraftKings is giving new customers a shot to rack up some bonus bets. This is not giving people betting advice or anything like that or how you should wager. This is just a place where you should go because it's awesome. And DraftKings is now live in North Carolina, as we mentioned before. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code Rubbin, RUBBIN. And new customers can bet only $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Rubbin. DraftKings, the crown is yours. All right, picking the tires. And again, I don't know if people want to follow Greg Olson with the Bubba Wallace type thing. And equally, you probably shouldn't follow us. Chris Bell had done the press conference after his win, and Bob Pockris was sitting in the front row. And Chris Bell said to him, "Bob, did you pick me this week?" And Pockris said, "No, I didn't." And Bell's like, "Good. Every time you pick me, I do shitty. Did you pick me last week?" Pockris like, "Yes, I did." He's like, "And look." So he's like, "Please don't bet on me next week." That's sort of like me and Martin Truex. So who do you guys like? Who wants to go first for the Food City 500
Can
in
I go
Bristol?
first?
Absolutely.
Go ahead,
You haven't
Quakes.
gone first in a while.
So Spider started talking about the picks this week, and I told him to stop because I thought we were I think we were all gonna overlap on something because if you look at the odds, there's something that stands out to me like crazy. But maybe not. I think Spider was kind of down on this guy.
I think I've missed it. I don't know what you're talking about, but I think I missed what you saw.
The best driver, like historically, the best driver here in the field is Kyle Busch.
Oh, yeah.
And he is plus 1,600.
Okay.
He's about 15 cars back on the, or 10 cars back on the list. I think you have to take Kyle Busch here. Well, you don't have to. You gamble responsibly, do whatever you want. But Kyle Busch at plus 1,600 is a steal. That'll definitely go down closer to the weekend. But I like that a lot. And I also another guy we were talking about. I think it'd be good if Chase Elliott won this race. And he's plus 20 to 1.
You son of a bitch. Those are 2 on my card. No, but
Yeah.
I hear you. I thought that there was some value in Chase too, Kyle.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to. I was like, I thought those two were like odds wise for how good they are, and that's why I didn't want Spider to say anything. But I guess you have the exact same thing too.
Who above Kyle Busch doesn't belong there? There's Ty Gibbs at plus 1,300.
I kind of like Ty Gibbs this weekend.
Tyler Reddick plus 13.
I think Ty Gibbs could break through. I mean, he's been running hot.
Right.
I think he's worth a sprinkle. I mean, his teammates are plus 500. Ty's in. I know I keep beating the dead horse, but he's in same equipment. Granted, he has way less experience, but I think the way he's been running, that's probably worth a look. 13 to 1. Another guy that's 13 to 1, Tyler Reddick. He's been running hot. I'm intrigued by the RFK guys. For some reason, they're so like. It seems like the sports books like them.
They do.
And then Byron at 11 to 1 is another guy that I would look at between. He's just a consistent, solid guy. He's proven that he can win at a variety of different tracks. Always probably worth a look. And for this week, for him to be at 11 to 1, usually is shorter than that. So definitely.
Spider, I'm gonna say right now. So Quiggs, you're going Chase to win.
Yep.
You're going Kyle Busch to win. Those are your 2.
Yeah, I think just
Right now, and we might add another one as it gets closer, just in case people check the cards. Spider, right now you're jumping all over Ty Gibbs, and I'm not saying you're going heavy, but you're going Ty Gibbs, and then you said as far as the RFK guys, would you grab Buescher and Keselowski?
No, I probably wouldn't. I mean, Ford has yet to show me what I need to see. So, I mean, I've been impressed with Blaney. Granted, RFK did well last week. I'm not rolling with them. Maybe I would add Byron. The reality of it is, it's early. It's tough. It's hard to give picks right now.
They all look kind of attractive. But you did mention Ty Gibbs. You also mentioned Tyler Reddick. Do you want to put that on the card?
Fuck it. Yeah, give me those.
Give you
sure.
Tyler Reddick, and you mentioned Byron at plus 1,100.
Yeah, fuck it, sure.
Okay, so those are your 3, and we might add a 4th at some point down the line.
Yeah, I was hoping to just give the picks on Sunday, but lock me in for those.
Lock you in for those?
Yeah, fuck it.
Okay, cool. I think I'm going to grab Denny. I think I'm going to grab Denny at only plus 500. I mean, Kyle Larson at plus 400. I just can't do it.
I know.
That pre-qualifying is extremely concerning. Is this just going to be like another, I don't know. Is he just going to run away with it?
I'm going to grab Denny at plus 500 to win. I don't know if this is going to come as a surprise to anybody, but I'm also grabbing Eric Jones at plus 180 for a top 10. Fuck you, Quiggs. I'm going to hit on this one of those days, but it's not a lot. And then, I don't know. I think like for you, like the same way that you guys, I'm probably going to take another look at it as it gets a little closer. I was looking at the plus 1,100, 1,200 type guys, and it was coming down to either Buescher or Reddick. Buescher is a plus 1,100 and Reddick was plus 1,300, and I was leaning towards Chris Buescher, but then I remembered part of his pit crew is serving a 2-race suspension for the wheel coming off. So I don't know. I think that makes me kind of lean towards Tyler Reddick. But
I think the fact that Tyler has longer odds, I think you have to go with him.
Yeah,
because I think he should be. I think he's way more likely to win than Buescher is.
Yeah,
on this short track.
So that's it. So that's it for us with Rubbin is Racing. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow us on all social platforms, particularly during the race. As you guys know, a couple of weeks ago, I didn't tape the end of the race. It will never happen again.
Never.
So I had to do it exclusively on the Rubbin is Racing social media pages. Thanks for everyone for listening, and we will see you next week.